when Pioneer launched the CDJ 500 in 1994, it was truly amazing because for the first time you could play one of these bad boys on a CD player and adjust the speed with the jog wheel, making it an alternative to vinyl. Then in 2001, Pioneer introduced the CDJ 1000, the first CD player with a proper jog wheel, because now you could actually scratch your music, just like you could with vinyl. There was no wow, no flutter, and there was as much bass as you like because there wasn't a needle to jump out of the groove. It was absolutely amazing, and every single club in the world had one, and it made Pioneer market leader overnight. And in 2009, Pioneer released the CDJ 2000. For the first time, you didn't need a CD, you only needed this, a USB stick. For the first time, you could loop, you could quantize and set cue points, which you can't do with vinyl. The advantages of digital completely overshadowed the functionality of vinyl. And Rekordbox was born as preparation software to set these cue points and to analyze the music for these machines. Then in 2014, the DJ division split up from Pioneer and was now called Pioneer DJ. A few months later, Pioneer DJ was sold to investment company KKR for $451 million. And from that moment on, things started to go south. Then, on January 1st, 2020, the company was renamed Alphatheta. And a couple of months later, in April, the company was sold again, but to Noritsu. And when companies get tossed around like a bag of chips, it generally doesn't scream healthy company with a good vision. Rekordbox 6 was released and introduced a subscription model for the first time. Also, the Rekordbox performance mode, formerly called Rekordbox DJ, was now free, and that might be a smart move because it made the life of competing software, which was paid, a lot harder. In 2023, Pioneer DJ bought Serato. So instead of inventing, they are now buying the competition for their inventions to use in their own products. In 2024, also the branding was changed from Pioneer DJ to Alphatheta, and Rekordbox 7 was released, further doubling down on their subscription model. And now you have to pay to get a menu structure like on the CDJs, and I wish I was kidding. Now, here's the problem. The first CDJs were amazing. Pioneer was on top of their game. They pioneered, they invented, and they created footsteps for large footsteps for others to follow. Inventing and pioneering was in Pioneer's name and in Pioneer's DNA. But since the sale to KKR, Pioneer hasn't invented anything. It's like investors have gotten their grubby, greedy little money hands on a market leader and intend to milk it for every single penny, and started to prefer short-term profits over a long-term vision. Pioneer went from a company that was first with everything to a company that had to catch up with the competition. And the release of Rekordbox 7 made that painfully clear. It took them 4 years to release Rekordbox on Apple Silicon. 4 years after the release! Automatic cue and hot cue detection, which every single DJ software on the market already had before Rekordbox. Speed improvements, for example. Rekordbox was the slowest and sluggiest of all DJ software on the market. I've compared the performance of all DJ software in a blog post of mine, which I will link in the description below. Rekordbox was slowest. And something simple like searching in preferences, Virtual DJ already had that. When Denon released the SE5000 in 2018, it obliterated Pioneer's flagship product at that moment, the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2, in every single way. It was embarrassing, and it was cheaper on top of that. It was faster and more responsive. It had a sleek, new, more user-intuitive UI with a modern-looking waveform. It had a bigger screen that actually took advantage of the touchscreen for the first time. It introduced streaming on DJ players. It introduced 2 layers on one single deck. You could change the pitch of tracks. It had a small LCD screen in the middle of the jog wheel. It had 8 hot cues instead of 2 banks of 4. And it had beat roll and beat slicing built in on the machine. And the CDJ 3000 came out 2 years later and was just a, well, rebranded SC5000. It was a catch-up product. And still the SC5000 has more features than the CDJ3000. There was nothing new about the CDJ3000. And the SC5000 is just one example, but there are countless in which Pioneer was late to the party. I'm naming stem separation, key detection, for example. Alphatheta is slipping. It's not the company it once was, a pioneer. It's sitting back with their arms crossed and letting others do the inventions so they can catch up. But how long do they think they can play catch up? Because it's only a matter of time before a competitor takes over and takes over their market leadership. It's not a question if, but when that happens. And Denon came incredibly close with their SC5000, but Alphatheta apparently didn't notice. And Alphatheta may think that they're safe with their subscription model because they only have to open up their wallet for customers to keep them paying. But when you're not a market leader anymore, nobody's interested in your subscription either. And subscription fatigue is a real thing. A company just sets different priorities when they try to make a product that people actually want than when they try to sell you a subscription service that you don't actually need. Because then they start to resort to shady tactics like dark patterns. Like in Rekordbox 7, you can't start the software unless you agree to a trial subscription. And that's software, by the way, that you need for your next DJ gig on Saturday. And I doubt the legality of this, and I'm really curious what organizations like the FTC or here in the Netherlands, Autoriteit Consumentenmarkt, have to say about this. And we can expect arrogant behavior like this from companies like Apple, that the EU has to make laws about it to make them behave. But not Pioneer, not our beloved Pioneer. And not only DJs will lose out when Pioneer is no more, also investors will lose out. They lose money when Pioneer is no more. It's a very, very dangerous game to play.